Real estate agents are one of the most hated professions in Australia. One of the most hated. We are ranked alongside used car salesmen, divorce lawyers, and politicians. And the sentiment is only getting worse. Why? Well, partly because prices have skyrocketed and people are frustrated, priced out, and they're blaming us. But that's not all. Some agents are doing dodgy shit. Underquoting, dummy bidding, high pressure tactics, and recently, branded by some as Australia's former #1 agent, had his license suspended by the New South Wales Office of Fair Trading. Allegations include underquoting over 100 properties, dummy bidding, false documents to the Office of Fair Trading, and commission schemes that doubled his fees by playing on sellers' emotions. Now, if you're going to behave like this, you need to get the fuck out, okay? Because here's the thing. You can be aggressive. You can be ambitious. You can take what you want in real estate. You can earn millions of dollars without lying, without cheating, or ripping people off. Agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your #1 destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run, and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals, and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies, and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. Ladies and gents, thank you for joining me again on Get Keen. Today I've got a very interesting topic, but also a very important one. One that I don't think is talked about enough, and that is ethics in real estate. How to get as much from this industry as you possibly can, but ethically and in the right way. Now, I was inspired to do this episode over an Instagram post I saw the other day from a guy called Ivan Bresic. If you don't know Ivan, he's worth a follow. Simple to find him, just Ivan, I-V-A-N, Bresic, B-R-E-S-C-I-C. Now, Ivan is a real estate coach, but he's also a former high-profile Sydney agent that co-founded the agency Bresic Whitney. Now, Ivan's been posting about how the industry needs to clean itself up. Actually, he did a post about a month ago about sticking up for agents and that the public really needs us, and he got an absolute roasting from the public from that one. I understood where he was coming from, but why did he get roasted so much from the public? It's because the public perception of real estate agents is no good. They don't like us. They certainly don't like sticking up for us. We are, whether you like it or not, in general, viewed as a pretty scummy industry. We are one of the most hated industries out there. And I feel like in recent years, the sentiment and the narrative around real estate agents has gotten worse. And why is that? Well, it hasn't helped us that in the last few years, prices have gone so high, people are very frustrated, they're priced out of the market, and they somewhat blame us. But that's not totally it. It's also that there's a reputation that real estate agents are dodgy. They do bad shit. They lie, they cheat, and they rip people off. And it's fucking sad because it's not actually the truth. The truth is, if you're in real estate, you'll know this, that most people are really good in this industry. Most people, they do the right thing, but the industry isn't clean of bad behavior. I mean, I literally opened my phone this morning to another article about an agent in Newcastle being arrested for sexual assault charges. Being arrested. And recently as well, there's been a very high-profile agent who's under massive scrutiny for really bad, awful allegations of criminal behaviour. And this agent, who I'll just call Mr. T, who's been branded by some as Australia's #1 agent and has been praised for his rise to success within the industry, has had his license suspended by the Office of Fair Trading in New South Wales for the following, and this is directly off the New South Wales government website. This is what he's being investigated for. Underquoting the selling price of over 100 residential properties, dummy bidding at auctions, producing false documents to the New South Wales Fair Trading, and breaches of the rules of conduct, including using high-pressure sales tactics. Now, by the way, I just want to disclose that this isn't a personal attack on this guy. I don't know him at all. I've never met him, never communicated with him, never texted him, never emailed him. I've never even made eye contact with him before. What's weird though is when I try and look him up, I'm blocked. I don't know why, but maybe he didn't like one of the jokes he saw that I did sometime. I saw him speak at AREC a couple of years ago. I didn't think much of the talk. To me, I sensed an extremely inflated ego and a very high sense of superiority. But whatever, he sells a lot and he does really well. And that's what's always highlighted as being the really amazing thing about this guy. How much money he makes, how many sales he does. Now, I will point out before I go any further that at this stage, these are all just allegations. He hasn't yet been convicted of these things, but I'd say there's likely some pretty damning evidence because his license has been suspended for 4 months. And he actually just got another 4-month suspension as of a few days ago because I just found this article released from the REB a few days ago, which says, New South Wales Fair Trading has determined that Mr. T may have engaged in incidences of underquoting and breaching the rules of conduct into the offering of a commission incentivizing scheme. Now, I don't really know what that is, so I did some digging on what this commission incentive scheme could be down the rabbit hole of Reddit and other sites. And again, I'm not saying this is what happened, right? But from what I can find, I believe that this can involve behavior like this. Telling a seller days before an auction that feedback for their house is much lower than in reality, and then getting them to agree to pay more commission if a higher result can be achieved on the day, knowing full well that the property is likely to sell for way higher. Now, this is bad. This is really bad. And if you're doing these kind of sales tactics, playing on the emotions of your paying clients in a high-stress situation, you got to get out of this industry. You don't belong here. Now, these allegations say this has resulted in commissions being sometimes close to double what the owner would have originally had to pay. It's really appalling behavior, if it's true. And if any of you are going to behave like this, then you need to leave. We don't want you in our industry. Also, if you do dodgy shit like this, you may get away with it once. You may get away with it in the short term. But let me tell you, the past will catch up with you and haunt you. You will lose everything. You will get caught. You will lose your job, you'll lose your license, your company, and most importantly, you'll lose your integrity. And you know what? Once you lose your integrity, that's it. You're done. No one ever trusts you. No one ever wants to get close to you. If you don't have integrity, you live a shallow, selfish, unhappy lifestyle. So, it's time to clean up this industry. You can make your dreams come true in real estate sales. You can earn millions of dollars. You can do things in the right way. But it's time to clean up this industry. It's time to follow mentors that do the right thing. So today I want to talk about some of the things that you can do to make sure that you're doing things ethically in real estate. And places where agents can be led to do the wrong thing sometimes. And hopefully this will help some people avoid doing the wrong thing in real estate in the future. Now, number one, first and foremost, is just don't fuck with the rules of the Office of Fair Trading. Follow the rules. You do not, right? I will state again, you do not want to be invested by a government department. They do not stuff around and they will strip you of everything and they will give you massive fines. I once was investigated by the Office of Fair Trading for an advertising thing that I did on my website. I had something that said, that I was the #1 agent in an area, and there was no reference to it. And someone complained, and then the Office of Fair Trading, they came after me and made me submit all of these reasons why I had this type of advertising on my site. I just didn't think about it. I just overlooked this thing. It wasn't an intentional, deceptive thing. But there was obviously a rule I wasn't following. And, it all got cleared up and it was fine in the end. But let me tell you, they didn't stuff around. I had to provide heaps of evidence and, I had to write letters explaining myself, and it seemed, quite serious what I had done. So, I obviously wasn't following a rule that I overlooked, but you do not want to, what I'm trying to say is you just don't want to stuff around with this kind of stuff. You need to follow the rules, okay? And one of the first things to make sure of is that your license never expires, okay? Because I've seen this often, right? And to be honest, the Office of Fair Trading aren't very good at notifying you of your license expiry. And I know agents that have had expired licenses before knowingly and still been trading, right? And that is a big no-no, right? Do not do this. It is your responsibility to make sure your license is always up to date, or you're breaking the law. You cannot trade as a real estate agent without a current license. And you're putting both yourself and your agency at massive risk by doing it. Not just because of the fines that you may receive if you got caught by the Office of Fair Trading, but if you potentially had a case against you from a client, potentially something that you would need indemnity insurance for, you would have no insurance coverage. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the content. Just quickly, if you're interested in knowing what it might look like for you to own your own real estate business and brand, then that's what me and my team do. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own agency and brand so they can earn higher commissions and set up a better life for themselves. If you're interested in what that might look like, just click the link in the show notes and book a call with me or one of my team members, and we'll find out whether or not this is a good fit for you. Now let's get back to the episode. So this is a massive risk. Make sure that you have it diarized in your diary when your license is to expire months before, so that you can make sure that you renew it and not accidentally, and in most instances it's just an accident, that people's license expired and then all of a sudden they've been trading for 6 months or a year before they find out, holy crap, I am not licensed. And that is it happens all too often. All right. So make sure you diarize the end of your license expiry. Number 2, multiple offer situations and how to do the right thing. Now, this is when, we come across this as agents. We have a property, there's lots of interest, and many people want to make an offer at the same time. And this is a time when agents can get really unstuck and they don't follow a process themselves which communicates properly when there's multiple offers on the property, and it can come back to bite them. They can get a lot of backlash, and they can get a bit of negative energy and a negative view on them from the people that they were dealing with, okay? A piece of advice for multiple offers: always make sure that you use a multiple offers form that every buyer signs when making an offer, so that all of those buyers, they know the exact procedure when there is a multiple offer, and that they all understand their position, okay? Sometimes what happens is agents get a flurry of interest and they rush the process when there's a lot of offers, and they just tend to ignore the people who come in with a slightly low offer, and they don't keep them very informed of what's going on because they're just trying to get the deal done. They're just working with the people who are actually talking about larger offers and who are more likely to buy the property. And they just focus on those people, and it's not the right way to do things, okay? Every buyer, no matter what their offer is, they deserve a fair go. They also deserve the respect of effective communication. Okay, and I'm telling you this, whilst they might not buy this property because their offer's too low, it will serve you in the long run to treat people right, to give them an equal chance, to communicate with them properly. Now, sometimes we do feel like we've done everything right and people still get angry at us, but that's okay. As long as you know in your heart of hearts that you did everything right and you gave everyone and every buyer a fair chance and you communicated everything fairly in the right way to every person, there's going to be some people that sometimes get upset and just take it out on you. It's a frustrating process missing out on a property that you had your heart set on. So don't get too offended. Just make sure you've done everything right so that you don't feel bad about the process, okay? The third thing, to avoid doing things in the wrong way, is to not underquote property prices on purpose, okay? And this has been a major flaw in the real estate industry for a long time. And so much so that many states are cracking down heavily on this underquoting. Now, what underquoting is, the bad thing that really is about it, is when agents make people believe that a property will sell for a fairly low price, knowing that it's actually going to sell for way higher, okay? There's a difference when they don't know or they make a mistake, but it's underquoting and knowing that they're underquoting in order to get way more interest than they should, which then potentially pushes the price up. But at the same time, it just wastes a whole lot of people's time and energy, okay? And that's not good for the industry. That's not good service. It's not moral. It's not ethically right. So look, it's a tactic that's been used by agents for a long time to get more interest in a property, but there are better ways to do it. Now, I do get it. I do have to back agents here by acknowledging that sometimes it is difficult to know where a property will sell, okay? And definitely in a rising market, when you're looking at sales data from months ago to determine a likely sale price and to give an appraisal, and then you get it on the market and you give a price guide or whatever, and then it just goes way higher. It's happened to me plenty of times. Even I've taken properties to auction and there's been feedback at a certain price and we've talked about it with the owners, we've set the reserve and it's gone way over. Or we set a price on a property and we've had multiple offers and it's gone way over. And sometimes that happens. But it's when it's intentionally done, okay? And when it's done by a degree that the margin is just too much for just a slight bit of error. And I think that's what is happening all too often, right? So I think the key here when giving price guides or trying to, give an idea of where a property might sit, the key is to not intentionally be deceptive. And I think that's what the OFT is trying to cut down on, because I know that there has been sales tactics out there to just tell every buyer, no matter what they say about price, to tell them to come to the auction. Oh, they've got a great chance. Oh yeah, you're in for a good shot. Knowing that they have absolutely no chance at buying that property, right? And that's what really frustrates people out in the public, right? Just making them think that they actually have a chance when they clearly do not, okay? Now, of course we don't know. Perhaps the owner would take a lower price. But if you know the owner will not take a lower price, or if you know there is heaps of genuine interest way above what people are saying that they are willing to pay, then you can't just tell them that they can come along and that they've got a chance, all right? How to avoid this problem is you've got to get good at your scripts and dialogues around price, okay? I just think that there's a lot of agents out here that don't practice this stuff. They're just lowly skilled on the conversations on what to say when people say, what's it going to sell for? Or, oh, my budget's this, should I come along? So they just tell everyone to come and, oh yeah, you've got a chance. And, then they just hope it sells, which it probably does in this market. And then they brag about the sale. And when they brag about the sale, when they've underquoted, I think this is one of the main things. It's just given the industry such a bad name. I mean, think about it, right? Think about if you're a buyer, you go along, you've got $1 million, you go to a property, you tell the agent, look, I've got about $1 million, is it worth? Oh yeah, mate, you're in, oh geez, bring that along for sure. Make sure you got your finance ready, make sure you've done your building and pests, which they may have to pay for, and they may have to go and organize paperwork or pre-approval with their broker and spend hours of time getting prepared for this property only to go along. And it doesn't just sell for, 2% more, 5% more. It sells for 15, 20% more. 25, I've heard of properties selling for $300,000 to $500,000 over the quoted price when it was worth, $1.5 million or $1 million. Like mega amounts over. How unimpressed would you be or pissed off would you be as a buyer wasting all that time and going along and thinking, why the hell did that agent say for me to come along? Like, that is not putting a good impression about yourself or the industry as a whole. Okay, so this intentional underquoting, it's just not on. Don't do it. Get good at talking to buyers. It's okay to give them hope. It's okay to say, look, you never know, but it's important to be honest. Look, if someone said $1 million and I know I've got interest at 1.25, I would be straight up honest with them and say, look, to be honest, I'd come along because you never know, and it's important to know what things are going for, so you should be there. But at this stage, I have had people indicate that they'd be willing to pay more. I don't know if they're going to come to the auction and what their intentions are, but I would think that you'd be outbid at that price. But I still recommend that you come because I have seen people buy properties at a lower price than I expected. Okay, but don't tell people that they're in for a really good shot when they're not. Okay, the next thing that you can do to be ethical in real estate is, and this is actually internally within agents, okay, agents against agents, our competition is don't call other agents sellers and tell them that you can get a better price for their property. I think that's one of the most appalling, ethically wrong things agents can do to their competition. Now, I know it's competitive out there. I know we're trying to win, right? But you do not call other agents sellers and tell them that they've underpriced their property and you can get more, and then try and steer the owner away from taking offers on that property. You're actually really heading down a very dangerous track doing that, because you're playing with people's emotions in the wrong way. They could actually have a really good offer on the table and then not take it because what you said, and then they go over to you expecting a much higher price and then you can't get it either. How are you going to explain that, right? There's much more ethical ways to approach other agents' listings on the market, right? For one, you can just stay in touch, talk to them about sales that are happening in the area, talk to them about the process that's going on, any offers that they have received. But you don't need to badmouth your competition or say that they can't get a price that you can get. You know that that's bullshit, right? And I know that there's agents out there that do this, and I think it's one of the most disgusting behaviors out there in real estate, right? There's nothing wrong with chasing other agents' listings. Okay, and sometimes an agent just can't get it done, and that's tough luck. And I think an agent chasing listings because they're looking for listings, it's fine. It's the way that you do it. Okay, and this follows on to number 6, which is don't talk shit about other agents. All right, it doesn't make you look good. All right, I'm talking when you're out there at listing presentations. Don't sit there and badmouth your competition. Okay, at some point, it will likely get back to that agent, all right? So you're going to make a real enemy. It's fine to talk about your process, why you're the best person for the job, why you can get more than other agents, what you do differently than other agents to get a better price, right? Learn dialogues around why you are the best. Focus on what results you've achieved, what clients have said about you, what the experience will be like if they go with you, rather than focusing on what you think about the competition. right? The people that talk about their competition in listing presentations or on phone calls are seen as scared and weak. And it will not serve you to be that person that goes around talking shit about your competition. The next thing I want to suggest about doing things ethically is don't change your commission structures after you've originally signed the agency agreement. Okay, when you make an agreement to sell someone's house from the beginning, you make an agreement with them, that's stuck in place. You can't come back later and then change the commission structure in your favor to get more money if a certain result happens, right? That's just unethical. It's not right. If you're doing anything like that, that is probably considered high pressure sales tactics, and it can come back to bite you. So don't be doing anything like that. If you make an agreement on the commission in the start, then you've made that agreement and you follow through to the end. The next thing to do things ethically right is don't purposely tell an owner that you can get a certain price for their property when you don't actually believe it. Okay? It's okay to give hope. All right? But I know there's a lot of agents out there that just straight up lie in listing presentations to potential sellers and say that they're going to be able to get them a price that they don't actually believe is possible. Now, those agents, you might get a listing now and then. You might get a couple of listings from lying to your owners. But I'm telling you that those agents, they never make it in the end. They never make it to the top. They continuously burn bridges. They continuously have clients that don't like them because they say exorbitant prices. They promise the world and deliver peanuts, right? And they go through a career and they are always the agents with lots of listings that don't sell, and they crash and burn usually after a while, okay? It's not a great way to start a business relationship by lying, overquoting what you think they can get, and then you just have to continuously backpedal the entire process. The owner is going to lose faith in you, they're going to lose trust in you, and then they're not going to want to work with you. And I highly doubt, even if you sell the property, that they're going to want to leave you a good review or recommend you to their friends, because even though you sold it in the end and you got your pay, you got your commission, the whole business transaction was a bit sour. And in the long run, it's not going to serve you, okay? That's not how the top agents in this industry behave or conduct business. The next one I want to point out to do things ethically is don't continually call people or text people who've asked you not to, okay? Make an effort to respect people's wishes in your database. You know, and this goes for bulk texting and calling people. If they tell you that they don't want to be contacted, then grant them their wish and take them off your database, and don't keep texting them. I just know that a lot of agents ignore this stuff and they go, yeah, no worries. They hang up the phone, or they get a text from someone saying, don't text me, and they just go, yeah, whatever. And they just keep doing it. Don't do that. It doesn't make you look good. It makes the industry look bad. And, you know, it's just rude. The next thing to do to be ethical is to not overpromise and underdeliver on your service. Okay, don't say you'll do things and then not follow through. All right? Don't say you'll be at an open home and then send your associate. Don't say there were 10 people at an open home when there was only 2. Just don't promise things and not deliver. It's pretty simple, but you'd be surprised at how many people actually do that. If anything, in any business and as an agent, you want to underpromise and over-deliver on service. That is how you make a great reputation for yourself. That is how you get positive reviews, and that is how you get referrals. The last thing I want to do, right, which is not exactly an unethical thing, but it's just a pet hate from the public and within the industry, I'm sure, is just don't be a douchebag. Don't wear sunnies at an open home. Engage with people properly. Don't sit on your phone at an inspection when you should be trying to help a customer. Don't have a sale sign which just has a big picture of you on it. Don't have cringy number plates that say things like commish, right? Don't look like a dickhead. There's too many people trying to act like they're making millions of dollars when they're not. There's too many agents just bragging about their results all the time instead of celebrating a client success story or a client testimonial. There's too many agents just doing really cringy, douchey shit. You know what I'm talking about. You can just look at it. When you open up your Instagram and you just see an agent just doing the dumbest, cringiest shit, acting like they're, the Wolf of Wall Street. Don't be the Wolf of Wall Street. It's not cool, doesn't look good, no one's impressed. The only reason why people are looking at you if you're trying to be this person is because they think you're a dickhead and they can't stop taking their eyes off someone who's being absolutely cringe. Here's the thing. A lot of views on you being a cringe douchebag is not a good thing, all right? Let's be humble. Let's keep our egos in check. We're not saving lives. We're just selling houses. Okay? Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I love you so much for supporting me with the Get Keen podcast. It takes a lot to make this content for you, and I love doing it, but you can really help me by giving me a like, a share, a comment on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're watching this, or YouTube. Helps the algorithm, gives me a little energy boost. I appreciate you and thank you. I'll see you on the next episode of Get Keen. Thanks for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode got you thinking about starting your own real estate business and building your own brand, Plum Partners may be able to help. Book a call using the link in the show notes and let's see if we're the right fit to help you create, run and grow your own real estate brand. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star review and follow me on Instagram at Dan_Lee_Plum. Until next time, keep getting keen.